Hi, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Global Concern podcast done by the Globe family of Royal College. We thought it would be a good idea to go in depth about very serious global environmental issues and share the thoughts of the student community to possibly inform others and to help in any way we can to combat environmental issues. So I am Ditra De Silva, and today with me I have Janik Jayasekara and Ravina Hapwarachi. We have two topics for the podcast today. The first one will be wildfires, and the second one will be pollution caused by war machinery. So in 2019, there was a huge wildfire in the Amazon rainforest, which sparked an alarm over regions such as Brazil, Peru, and Colombia, especially in Chirbiquete National Park, which is the biggest national park in Colombia and the biggest rainforest national park in the world. This wildfire caused a huge loss of biodiversity and brought destruction to not only humans and animals, but to property as well. Just imagine yourself, a defenseless, helpless animal in the middle of the wildfire. You have no idea what's happening around you. You don't know where your family is. Everything around you is on fire. You're helpless. You're scared. Would you want to be this animal? I think not. Animal or not, it's a very unethical thing to happen to someone. And therefore, to reduce incidents like this, we must combat wildfires. So, to combat wildfires, we must first understand the causes of wildfires. So, Janik, what really are the causes of wildfires and how do wildfires really occur?
Yes, Deepira. Now, as you said earlier, the wildfire that you were talking about was in the Colombian region or the Amazonian region. Now, those wildfires are rare because they are tropical wildfires. Usually, because of the humidity, the the tropical area isn't isn't a prone area for wildfires. But due to excessive humidity, intentional and man made wildfires can occur as a result of illegal deforestation for many reasons, such as cattle ranching, cocoa fields, and illegal mining are among the highest known factors. Now, as Dithira told earlier, no one loves being in a flame of fire. So, Ravina, can you tell us about the negative effects of wildfires?
Yeah, Janet, I completely agree with what you said earlier. And also regarding the negative effects on wildfire, the risk of wildfires increases in extremely dry conditions, such as droughts, and during high winds, wildfires can disrupt transportation, communications, power and gas services, and water supply. They also lead to a deterioration of the air quality and loss of property, crops, resources, animals, and also the effects of smoke can range from eye and respiratory tract irritation to more serious disorders like including reduced lung function and exacerbation of asthma and heart failures too. So, Dithira, I would like to ask you a question. So, are there any benefits on wildfires?
Yeah. So, Ravina, I completely agree with you. Wildfires cause so many issues and it destroys the air quality, property, crops, resources, and it destroys lives. But still, there are certain benefits of wildfires. It's unimaginable, but still, it's a natural part of many forest ecosystems, often playing a very vital role in their life cycle of renewal. They rely on periodic fires, natural or man-made, to clear undergrowth and germinate their seeds. Throughout the ages, many farming communities around the world have responsibly used controlled burning to manage their lands. But nowadays, people are so greedy that they have increased the rates of burning areas of land and forests. And not only that, due to reasons such as overpopulation, the rates of forest wildfires have increased a lot, which can cause stuff like deforestation. So therefore, we must stop burning plots of land and causing wildfires at an excessive rate and use it in a beneficial way so that we can get something good from even something like wildfires. Because if you use it in a responsible way, it's even good for the soil because, like I said, it allows plants to germinate new seeds. So, Janik, what is the present condition regarding wildfires?
Yes, Nitira. As Ravina and you said earlier, there are negative and positive sides to wildfires. But as you all might know, the increase in temperature around the world and the increase in carbon dioxide has multiplied the likelihood of both wildfires and the traditional burning cycle that Dithira was talking about earlier. Now, the traditional burning cycle can be used wisely, as Dithira said, but around the world, there are some people who just don't think about those simple things and try to get the better for themselves and themselves only. So, a thought that came to my head: why now, and why are so many people thinking of the prevention of wildfires as a very important topic? Ravina, over to you.
Thank you, Janik. So, like you said, the current climate crisis is getting out of our control. So, why should we prevent these wildfires? So, how important is this? So, preserving rainforests like Amazon rainforest is the key to fighting global climate change. Thus, the recent fires in Amazonian region have been a powerful reminder to the entire world that we should keep forests like those Amazon keep standing, and if we are to stand a chance at stabilizing our climate, that's the key. So, like I said, how do we prevent these wildfires? So, what can we do for it? So, Dithira, how can we prevent these wildfires?
Well, firstly, I completely agree with what you said, Ravina. It's much more important than ever before because deforestation and wildfires have been occurring at a very alarming rate, and therefore it is time we fight back. It is time we combat these environmental issues and protect our environment. And this reminds me of a quote by the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon. There's no planet B, sorry, there's no plan B because there's no planet B. So, how can we prevent wildfires? So, first of all, we must pay close attention to whether there's a drought condition, and we must try to avoid any activities that involve fire or sparks when it's hot, dry, or even windy. And select a flat location away from flammable materials when you make fire. And of course, regularly maintain your equipment and vehicles, because vehicles and equipment can shoot sparks from their exhaust. And keep sparks away from dry vegetation. And lastly, cautiously burn your trash, and never do it when it's windy or restricted. So if you follow these steps, you can possibly reduce the chances of a wildfire occurring in your area. And you can be useful, and you can help the environment by following these methods. And of course, don't forget to spread this information so that other people will get to know these, and they can also help to combat these environmental issues. So overall, it is our duty to combat wildfires and try to protect forests like the Amazon rainforest, and try to protect those innocent animals who are dying because of what we have done to the environment. So over to you, Janik.
Yes, Nitira. What you said was a very interesting and highly informative first session. I myself learned many new facts on wildlife and wildfires. Now, we will move on to another contemporary topic where we will be diving deep into the issues associated with pollution by war machinery. Now, as all of you might know, revolvers, pistols, rifles, shotguns are all a part of war machinery. And again, as all of you might know, these all use sparks, gunpowder to ignite and send bullets or other machinery. These can be very deadly to cause wildfires in first, and it's very deadly because of the air pollution that can be caused in a small area or a wide area. Now, if I move on to a current situation of the world, the environmental consequence of the war in Ukraine. According to the Environmental Performance Index, even before Russia invaded Ukraine in February this year, Ukraine ranked very low on environmental indicators such as air quality, biodiversity production, and ecosystem health. So, after the war, the environmental situation in Ukraine will probably be worse than ever. As this war involved massive use of military power from both sides, Russia and Ukraine, it is the impact on air, land, forest, wildlife, and water bodies will be immeasurable. Now, Ravina, what are the consequences of attacking military infrastructure and dense cities?
Consequences of attacking military infrastructures and dense cities, like the Russian army specifically targeted Ukraine's military infrastructure and densely populated city. And also before that, like Israel, there was a war between Israel and Palestine. Like those damaged military facilities emanate large smoke clouds with toxic gases and particles over civilian areas, causing them serious health injuries like reduced lung function. The use of explosives in populated area creates heaps of building debris such as asbestos, metals, and combustion products polluting the soil and groundwater, thus generating a long-term health hazard for all living beings, including humans. Now, Dithira, I would like to ask you an important question. What is the threat of nuclear radiation?
Yeah. So, like you said, there are many consequences of attacking military infrastructure and densities, and of course, it can cause huge scale pollution. Even though this is not a new phenomenon, it remains one of the greatest problems facing humanity. So, to answer your question, in the situation of Ukraine and Russia, Ukraine operates 15 nuclear reactors in 4 different places on their land. And even if one reactor is damaged, we'll witness the second Chernobyl disaster. The radiation that would have been released in such an attack could spread over thousands of kilometers and result in deadly health issues, such as thyroid cancer, to not only civilians in Ukraine, but also to people in neighboring lands and countries. So that is the main threat of nuclear radiation. And there could also be a huge threat to attacks in abandoned coal mines. So, Janik, what are the issues related to military attacks in abandoned coal mines?
Yes, Dithira. There are many abandoned coal mines in the Donbass region. When a mine is shut down, its water should be pumped out continuously to prevent close by reservoirs from being contaminated with these heavy metals dug underneath the ground many kilometers below. For example, mercury, lead, and a very dangerous substance, arsenic. If a country has war situation, this will restrict these operations, which will cause serious environmental issues. Now, Ravina, forest fires and loss of biodiversity. What do these words mean? And how has this war increased forest fires and the loss of biodiversity?
Yeah, Janik, I completely agree with what you said earlier. Abandoned coal mines is a huge impact, gives a huge impact on air, land, forest, wildlife, and water bodies. Now, on to the question you asked. Forest fires and loss of biodiversity. Ukraine takes 35% of Europe's biodiversity, keeping over 70,000 rare and endemic flora and fauna in possession. This could unfortunately be destroyed during this war against Russia. 60% of Ukraine's land area is covered by forests. Explosions from heavy artillery will cause forest fires, destroying many habitats. Now, Dithira, what are the effects on greenhouse gases?
Thank you, Ravina. So, before I move on to greenhouse gas effects, I would also like to mention that there's a close relationship between the pollution caused by war machinery and forest fires, the topic we discussed earlier, because those military attacks could cause a wild fire in the forests and possibly harm biodiversity. So, moving on to the greenhouse gas effect, Heavy arms and ammunition used during this war will raise the carbon footprint in the region. And this will create more greenhouse gases, and it will lock other greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Basically, it won't let them leave the planet Earth and keep them in our atmosphere, leaving Ukraine at a higher risk of climate change related disasters. So, this could mean a lot of issues. First of all, this could have a huge threat to the animals living there because they won't be able to possibly live with these new conditions and could even go extinct. So, in conclusion, it is clear that wars never bring good things. Whoever wins, wars bring only deaths, destruction, and broken dreams, turning the earth an unsafe place for all to live on. So, therefore, we should all live in harmony and peace and try to protect and conserve our environment. As the project says, conserve to preserve. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I hope you all can share this podcast so more people can be informed about current global environmental issues and so that they can help us too. Thank you.